He'd built an empire but couldn't buy back what mattered most, until a boy begging for expired cake showed him the one thing wealth could never purchase, a reason to live again. The bakery smelled like warm butter and vanilla, but Vincent Chin couldn't taste joy anymore. He stood at the glass counter every Tuesday at 6 p.m., not because he was hungry, but because this was her favorite place. His daughter, Lily. Gone 3 years now. The staff knew not to speak to him. He'd order the same lemon tart she used to love, take one bite in the corner booth, and leave the rest untouched. A ritual of grief. A shrine made of crumbs. Tonight, as he reached for his wallet, a small voice cracked the silence behind him. "Excuse me, sir? Before we go any further, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring you even more powerful stories. Now, let's begin." Vincent turned. A boy, maybe 9 years old, dirt-smudged cheeks, clothes 2 sizes too big, stood clutching a torn backpack. His eyes held that terrible mix of hunger and shame. "Do you have any expired cake?" the boy whispered to the counter girl. "Anything you're throwing away?" The girl hesitated. Vincent's hand froze on his wallet. Something in the boy's voice, raw, honest, hopeful, struck a chord he thought had died with Lily. The counter girl glanced nervously at her manager. We don't usually." "I'll take 6 boxes," Vincent heard himself say. His own voice sounded strange, unused to spontaneous kindness. The boy's head snapped up, eyes wide with confusion and fear, like he'd been caught stealing instead of asking. "No, sir, I didn't mean, I wasn't trying to." The boy backed toward the door, instinct telling him rich men didn't help, they accused. "Wait." Vincent's hand lifted, palm out. Not commanding. Pleading. The boy froze. Vincent looked at him, really looked. Beneath the grime, he saw Lily's age. That same stubborn pride she'd had when she didn't want help with homework. The way she'd bite her lip when embarrassed. His chest tightened. "What's your name?" Vincent asked softly. "Mateo." "Mateo, I'm buying pastries I won't eat anyway. You'd actually be helping me." A lie that felt like the first honest thing he'd said in years. Mateo's fingers twisted the backpack strap. "Why?" Vincent had no answer. Or maybe he had too many. "Because you remind me of what I lost. Because I'm drowning and you're the first person who's made me feel in 3 years. Because someone should," he finally whispered. They sat on the bench outside, billionaire and boy, separated by everything except this strange, fragile moment. Mateo ate slowly, reverently, like each bite was a prayer. Vincent watched, his untouched lemon tart between them. "Where are your parents?" Vincent asked, then immediately regretted the intrusion. Mateo's chewing slowed. "Mom's sick. Real sick. We live in the shelter on 5th, but she can't work anymore, and his voice cracked. "I try to help but nobody hires kids, and I just wanted to bring her something sweet. She used to bake before everything fell apart." Vincent knew that cliff edge intimately. "The cake," Vincent said quietly. "It wasn't for you." Mateo shook his head, shame flooding his face. "Expired stuff don't hurt nobody. I checked online at the library. Day-old cake is safe, and Mom, she don't eat much anymore, but maybe if I brought her something nice." His words shattered into silence. Vincent felt something break open inside him, a dam he'd built with money, meetings, and monuments to his dead daughter. All his wealth, all his power, and he'd spent 3 years buying pastries for a ghost while this boy begged for scraps to save his dying mother. "Mateo," Vincent said, his voice unsteady. "What if expired cake isn't enough?" The boy looked up, confused and terrified, like hope was a language he'd forgotten how to speak. Vincent pulled out his phone. Mateo tensed, expecting police, social services, another system that swallowed people like him. Instead, Vincent made a call. "Dr. Ramos?" "Vincent Chen. I need you at 5th Street Shelter in 20 minutes. "Yes, I know what time it is. Bring your full diagnostic equipment." "No, not for me. For someone who matters." Mateo's eyes went wide. "Sir, we can't pay for." "I'm not asking you to pay." Vincent's voice cracked. "Mateo, 3 years ago, my daughter got sick. I threw everything at it, best doctors, experimental treatments, flew her to 5 countries. And I lost her anyway." He looked at the boy, tears finally breaking through. "I couldn't save Lily. But I have all this money, all these connections, and they're just sitting there. Rotting. Like expired cake nobody wants." He laughed bitterly. "You asked for scraps while I've been hoarding a feast I can't even taste." Vincent knelt down, eye level with Mateo. "Let me help your mom. Not because I'm rich. Because you reminded me that wealth without purpose is just another way of starving." Mateo's lip trembled. "Why would you do this for us?" Vincent's voice broke completely. "Because maybe saving her will save me too." The boy collapsed into Vincent's arms, and for the first time in 3 years, Vincent Chen remembered what it felt like to hold someone who needed him. 6 months later, Vincent stood in the same bakery at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. But this time, he wasn't alone. "Can we get the lemon tarts, Vincent?" Mateo asked, pressing his nose against the glass. "Mom says they're her favorite now too." Vincent smiled, a real smile, the kind that reached his eyes. "Get 2 boxes. One for her, one for us." Mateo's mother, Rosa, had survived. The treatments worked. She'd started baking again, teaching Mateo her recipes in the small apartment Vincent had quietly arranged for them. Not charity, he'd hired her as the head baker for the youth shelter program he'd founded in Lily's name. The counter girl, the same one from that night, handed Mateo the boxes with a warm smile. "Your mom's empanadas yesterday were incredible." As they walked out, Mateo slipped his hand into Vincent's. A gesture so simple, so ordinary, it shattered and rebuilt him all at once. "Do you still miss her?" Mateo asked softly. "Lily?" "Every day," Vincent whispered. "But you taught me something, Mateo. Grief doesn't end. It just makes room for new love, new purpose." They sat on their bench now, and shared the lemon tart between them. Vincent pulled out a photo of Lily, showing Mateo for the first time. "She would have liked you. Probably would have taught you her terrible knock-knock jokes." Mateo grinned. "I know some pretty bad ones too." "Then she's here," Vincent said, his voice thick. "In every kid we feed. Every family we help. Every person who asks for expired cake and gets a feast instead." Mateo leaned against his shoulder. "You gave us everything." Vincent shook his head, tears streaming freely now. "No, Mijo. You gave me everything. You reminded me why I'm alive." The sunset painted the sky gold as they sat together, a billionaire who'd lost his way and a boy who'd shown him home. Some connections aren't built with money. They're built with expired cake, impossible questions, and the courage to say yes when your heart has forgotten how. Thank you for watching till the end. Click subscribe and let me know the lessons you learned in the comment below, and turn on the notification bell because tomorrow I will be giving you another story just as interesting as this one, and you don't want to miss it.